I'm gonna start off by saying that I don't have any pants on, which is why I'm under the covers because it's laundry day.
Here I am, just trying to be myself. It's a crazy world, looking to find my place, and all they do is la 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 la.
First things first, I'm going to get straight into the question that I know every single person wants to know about. How is Mounjaro going? So today's Sunday. It is the first official full week of the first dose. I am proud to say that I have lost 2 kilograms, so about 4 pounds in the first week, which I think is pretty good considering I'm getting my period in 3 days and it was just the Christmas holidays. So I can't say that I didn't really eat. I definitely ate, maybe even too much. In terms of how I'm feeling on Mounjaro, I thought it would be worse. Knock on, I don't even have any wood. So I'm just gonna pet Nino. So far it's been okay. I did do my second shot about like 3 hours ago. So far so good. I'm feeling okay. I don't feel any nausea. I feel like all of the other like weird side effects, I haven't experienced any of those, so I can't really speak on them. But so far so good. I think 4 pounds for the first week is actually not that bad, considering my dose is 2.5. I'm gonna go up to 5 in 2 weeks. So I'm excited. I mean, if I already lost 4 pounds the first week, I'm curious to see what I'm gonna lose on the second week, third and fourth week. So stay tuned, and please just remember, we literally have one life to live, and if you are unhappy in the body that you're in, like I am, if you knew me years ago, I used to be much thinner than I am now, and I'm not going to talk shit and say that I think I'm ugly. I feel like every single time you talk to somebody about being fat, they're like, oh my God, but you're so beautiful. Bitch, I know that. That is really not what we're talking about. And I find it so insulting when somebody says, you're so beautiful after you said that you're fat. I'm just overweight. I didn't say that I'm fucking ugly. I'm excited to see what I'm going to look like skinny again, because I was looking at old pictures of myself, and I want to talk about the fact that my dad is probably, listen, I love my dad, and I don't want him to feel bad if he watches this, but my dad is the most honest person with me when it comes to my weight, and I'm sure that many people probably feel that with their parents. My dad is the only person who will never miss an opportunity to tell me that I'm looking fucking fat. When we were on our way to Miami, I told him that we were going to the beach, and he was like, watch out for he's like, watch out for the sharks. And I was like, oh, I'm not that worried. I'm not going to go into the water. And he's like, you don't have to worry about the sharks because they wouldn't be able to eat you anyway. You would need a whale to eat you. Growing up, it definitely bothered me a lot more. In high school, I definitely had problems with eating, and I, bounced a bit back and forth between not really eating and overeating, but I definitely dabbled more in the not eating. It was so important to me when I was younger to be skinny and to look good, and it's crazy looking back now that I actually was so skinny, but at the time I thought I was so fat. And I feel like a lot of people could probably relate to looking back at themselves at a different point in their lives and thinking like, oh my God, I was so fat back then, but you actually weren't. If you're looking at the bruise on my arm, it's because I hit a chair the other day while chasing Nino. And it hurts like a mother. Oh my God, there's like a huge bump. Anyways, now as an adult, I feel like it's really important also the type of partner that you had. Not that growing up I necessarily had partners that were really, really harsh with me with my weight, because I didn't. But I was also, like I said, quite skinny growing up. And I have a very supportive partner who never makes me feel fat, no matter how fat I get, which I don't even know if that's necessarily a good thing. But Stefano never makes comments about my weight. He'll never tell me that I look fat in something. He'll always tell me that I look good, and he will always compliment me. And I feel like the way that he is in terms of being attracted to me has never changed or shifted in the last almost 10 years, which is insane. And I definitely have to thank him a lot for not feeling shittier in my skin. But that doesn't mean that I shouldn't lose weight, because I'm definitely over the weight that I should be. Thus bringing us to this journey that I kind of went back and forth in for a really long time, mainly because nobody talked about being on Ozempic or Mounjaro or Wegovy or Zepbound. Okay, I thought that this was something that was really only accessible to, I don't know why I thought this, but like maybe people in the United States. I'm not sure why. And I also thought it was for people who were really fat in my mind, okay? Not labeling myself as one of those really fat people, but like here we are. I am, okay? Because you are technically able to start one of the weight loss drugs that I mentioned if your BMI is over 30. I didn't even know this. I didn't even bother asking my doctor because I'm like, there's no way he's going to put me on this. There's no way he's going to say yes to this. So I actually had a client of mine who had mentioned it one night when we were talking, and she was on Mounjaro. I had never heard of it. And so the first thing that I assumed, because I saw this girl in person, she's very thin. And so I was like, you're taking it because you have diabetes, right? And so she was like, no. She's like, I'm taking it because of the weight loss. And I was like, but girl, you are so skinny. And then she showed me a picture of her before and after. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. It was a 4-month transformation and she looked so good. And I was like, please let me know how you got this. I truly was ready to go get these drugs on the streets, okay? I was ready to stop at nothing. She had actually sent me her doctor and told me to reach out to him. And I was going to. But before I did, I ended up getting really sick. If you're following up on my Instagram, you know that I have been sick for over a month. Today is actually a month and 1 week. I have bronchitis. It took them that long to figure it out. So I'm on antibiotics as well, which is something that I wasn't crazy about doing, being on antibiotics and also starting the Mounjaro. But anyways, I had to go see my doctor anyway. And so I asked him, what do you think about Mounjaro? And I really thought that he was going to turn it down, but he was like, is that something that you're considering? And I was like, you tell me, is that something that I'm supposed to consider or I can consider? And so he weighed me, whatever. And he's like, technically speaking, you're a good candidate for it. So if it's something that you want to try, we can start you on it, but it's very expensive. And if you want to try Ozempic, it's a little cheaper. For me, when it comes to drugs, legal ones and not legal ones, we don't go cheap on drugs, okay? This is something that you're putting into your system that I feel like we don't necessarily have all the research in the world to guarantee us that these things are super, super safe. I received so many messages of people saying, you know, I'm afraid and this and that. And I'm not saying that I'm not afraid, but truly I have reached the point where I am more afraid of staying the way that I am. I feel like I will just be unhappy if I stay in the body that I am. I feel like I have so much that I want to do and that so many nice clothes that I want to wear that I feel like I can't in this body. And so for me, this was really the last step that I was like, I can't stay like this. So I'm willing to maybe take the risk. And I decided that Mounjaro was more for me, even though it's almost double, maybe a little bit more than double the price of Ozempic. And so that's how we started. That's how we got here. I'm definitely going to keep you up to date on what's going on, how things change if they change. But like I said, 4 pounds in the first week when I'm getting my period in 3 days. And I really did not stop myself when it came to Christmas dinner, Christmas Day. I think we're doing pretty good. And like, I just want to give you an example. I'm sitting here now filming, right? And the only thing that I'm thinking is, how fat do I fucking look? Like, does this look fat? I'm sure it does. Do my arms look fat? Does my double chin show? And obviously these are things that I'm panicking about. And these are also things that I have filmed another podcast before and I didn't release it because when I looked at it, I wanted to throw up. And that's just the honest truth. I have been wanting to do this podcast for so long and I have procrastinated so many different times, and I've said it's because the background wasn't what I wanted it, or the theme song that I wanted to do for the intro is not done, or the house isn't clean, or I don't know. Literally, I have thought of every single excuse under the sun, and the truth is that I just didn't like what I looked like in the video, and I felt like that's all I would be thinking about, and that's all anybody would be thinking about if they watch the podcast. Fuck, I even filmed a podcast with my cousin in Italy, and it's actually such a good episode, but I looked like a fucking beluga whale in it, and I couldn't post it. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just post the audio because it's a really good episode, and I would love for you to hear it. So all I'm going to say is this. I'm on this Mounjaro journey. I'm really hoping that in 6 months, I'm going to look different. So I'm filming this as uncomfortable as I feel. And I know you're probably saying, oh, but you're always on stories and I film myself a lot. I do, but I also feel like I have the type of body where if I'm filming myself on the phone, you really can't even tell that I'm fat sometimes. I swear, I know that I meet people. I feel like clients, friends, whatever, people will find me on Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, TikTok, and they will follow me for a certain amount of time and they will think that I look one way. And then when you meet me in person, I'm fat. And that's just what it is, okay? And I feel like it takes some people off guard because I've gotten so many times, like, people will say, like, you don't have a fat face. I know that that means that I have a fat ass and fat everything else. I want to end the year as myself, okay? I'm ending the year as myself. I'm filming this literally on my couch. The house is a fucking disaster. We are trying to clean as much as we can because I really want to go into the new year with a clean house. That is the goal. Will we get it done? I don't know. Today, though, we did do my room. I did like half of the closet and I have to give it to my sister. I fucking love my sister so much. God bless this child because she's 13 years old. And I always get asked what it's like to have a sister that's almost 20 years older than me, 21 years older than me. I'm 21 years older than her, sorry. Wait, what kind of fucking math is that? I'm 32. She just turned 13. We're 20 years apart, okay? This is why I didn't do math in school or in life. And so up until this point, she's always really just been my little sister, and having such a big age gap, it's not always super easy to be able to do things together. When she was little, you know, I used to take her places or we used to do things together. But now as she's growing up, she kind of wants to do her own thing with her friends. She's a teenager. She's going through, do you know what I was doing in high school? I can't even tell you what I was doing in high school because I'm pretty sure they were not legal things. And so my sister, thank God, is the complete opposite of me. I am so grateful, and I know that my mother is also. And all of this to say, today she came over. I was feeling like shit. I also have a sinus infection, so my head is killing me. I wasn't feeling very good. She came over and she's like, didn't you say you had to clean downstairs? And I said, yeah, don't remind me because I really don't want to. And she kept asking and asking and asking. And she's like, let's go downstairs and just start cleaning. I get downstairs. Okay, she motivates me enough to get down the stairs. I get into my room and I wanted to just die because there's just so much, okay? The fact that Stefano and I often travel and work so much, I know it's a really bad excuse, but the time that we do have at home, I'm usually editing, okay? He's usually doing something else in the house. By the time we start getting anywhere with cleaning, we end up leaving for like 4 months to Italy, or we leave somewhere else. And then once you come back, it's kind of like you hit the ground running because there's so much work happening. And so there's always something going on, and really like cleaning the house and putting shit away is the last thing on our list. And we are also big shoppers. We shop so much. I don't know where to put this stuff because there is more stuff in the house than there is room for us at this point. I just bought a $3,000 cabano outside for us to literally move our shit into the cabano because we have no more space in our house, okay? And so we had to do this cleaning. It was just really, really necessary. And so my sister was like, listen, stop fucking procrastinating. She didn't say fucking because she's a good person and she doesn't swear. And so she said, let's clean your room. Come on, I'm gonna help you. And so I was like, honestly, I would rather stab myself in the eye with a fork. We get into the room. I looked at her and I laid down on my bed and I said, girl, this is not the time or the place for this. She looked at me and she said, look, I'm going to start folding some pants. She started folding some pants. She said, I'm going to start cleaning things up. She looked at me and she said, get 2 garbage bags. She said, get one for garbage and get one for things that you want to wash, that you want to keep. So I said, okay, smart girl. So I did that. And then she goes, get another garbage bag for the things that you might, or I don't know, but we had 3 fucking garbage bags, okay? One that I'm throwing or giving to like Village des Valeurs type vibes. One that I'm just throwing out because nobody deserves to have them. They're disgusting. And then one that I just need to actually wash. We did that, and we did that for like a couple hours. And my mom came downstairs several times and she's like, okay, we need to go home. And she was like, hold on, we're doing something. I have never in my life been happier to have a sister than today because she was there for me in a way that I've never grown up with a sister, right? I went my whole childhood life without a sister and I didn't know what it was like growing up with a sister. And so the fact that we also don't live together makes it a little bit more difficult too, because beside when she was younger, younger, we never really lived together. So she's also kind of going through an experience of, I guess, growing up as an only child, kind of like I did. And it's only now that at 32 years old, this was like the first experience where I felt like my sister really had my back. And I don't mean that in a bad way. She's 13 years old. What could she have possibly done before this, right? Not that I'm saying she hasn't helped me in the past, because she has in ways that she doesn't even know about. But today she was so intentional about it. And she was so adult about it. And fuck, I could not be more proud to have her as my sister. She is truly the best gift that my mom could have ever given me in my life. And so if you have a sibling, give them a big fucking hug. Even though I feel like siblings that grew up together don't always have that vibe. But I feel like because Capri and I grew up with such an age gap for such a long time, I felt like she was my literal child. But now she's growing up, and I don't see her as much as I would want to, but she's just growing into such an amazing person, and she's such a good dancer. She's such a good singer. She's a good actress. She's just a very talented young girl. And so I love her, and she really made today a lot easier. Not only that, it's the second time that she's here when I'm doing my injection for Mounjaro. And I wish I should insert the clip here, but she literally will cheer me on. Like, as Stefano's doing the needle, she'll just be like, you got it, girl, you got it. What a fucking cool kid, honestly. I love her. I wish I could go back in time and be like her as a kid, because she is just, she's wonderful. I'd like to just talk about the days in between Christmas and New Year's. I feel like everybody hates these days, but I feel like I'm the only person in the whole world who loves these days so much. It's the one time in the year where no one fucking bothers me. I don't get any messages. I don't get any calls. No emails. It is amazing. I feel like I don't exist, and it's beautiful. I wish that it could even last a little bit longer, but maybe not. Maybe not. I feel like what is it? It's like 4 days, 27, 28, 29, 30. It's like 4 days. No, 5-ish days. Because the 26th, I feel like, is still a holiday for us because it's Santo Stefano. And so it's a holiday for Stefano. Even though we don't really do much when we're in Canada, in Italy, it's like a very big holiday for them. So it's like we'll have Christmas Eve, Christmas, and then Santo Stefano. And so it's sick. But here we're boring as fuck and we don't do these things. So I don't know what it is, but I just love these days, the 4 or 5 days. It's just such chaos and confusion. Is it Tuesday? Is it Sunday? Who fucking knows? We don't know what time it is. Anything goes. You could drink at 10 a.m. and nobody could judge you. You could go to bed at 6 p.m. and you're not going to judge you. And so it's been really, really nice. I have not even picked up my computer or anything since like the 22nd of December. And it's truly probably the only time in the entire year that I actually take a break. Last year at this time, Stefano and I both had COVID and we were in Italy, and we absolutely ruined Christmas because we gave Stefano's dad COVID. And so it was a really scary time because we spent like 4 days thinking that we had killed him, but he is a trooper and he was fine. But because we gave COVID to all three of us, our house had to essentially be quarantined and the rest of his family didn't come over. And so we sat in the dark on Christmas and didn't do fucking anything. So that really sucked. This year was nice. It was the first Christmas that I spent Christmas Day with my dad. I'm sure a lot of you have divorced parents. And so there's just really nothing worse than having divorced parents during the holidays, because I would love to spend Christmas with both of my parents. But considering that my sister also we don't have the same dad. So a lot of the time Christmas Eve is split between my sister will spend some time with us and then go to her dad's side of the family. And then on the 25th, sometimes I don't see them. And so this year I was at my dad's. So anyways, it was a lot of chaos this year. And I feel like next year I don't want to do that. I don't know what I'm going to do. I need to figure out some type of tradition of my own. But considering that I don't have any children beside my cat and it's just Stefano and I'm like, I don't know what kind of fucking tradition we're going to put together, but it's going to be something not like what we usually do. Even though I love spending Christmas here with my family, it's just so short and I'm not good with like time. I don't like getting somewhere and knowing that I only have like 2 hours until, my mom has to leave with my sister. And anyways, it's a lot of stress. And I realized this year that it's just not for me anymore. And I know that that's weird to say because I'm sure people are thinking, well, a little bit of time is better than no time. I don't know if that's true for me. I feel like I've been doing this for a really long time since I was younger. It causes me more heartache than it does anything else. And so I think even though this is weird, but I don't like actually doing Christmas in Italy, it's very, very different than how we do Christmas. Like I've never done Christmas trees in Italy or like gifts in Italy. That's just like not the vibe. And so I'm genuinely considering next year for Christmas just doing something completely different and starting some type of new tradition that we love and that makes us happy. And that's it. Yesterday, I went out with a friend of mine. I said that I didn't work, which was a lie because yesterday I went to go take pictures for a friend of mine. She called me last minute to go do family portraits, which I thought was super, super cute because not all her family is always in town. They don't all live here. And so the fact that all her family was here, we went to her house and we took some beautiful family photos because she has such a gorgeous house. Her parents' house is beautiful. And after that, we ended up going to Lucille's. It was the first time I ever went to Lucille's. I was very pleasantly surprised. The food actually wasn't that bad, but I did a big no-no and I had a Bloody Caesar and a gin tonic, but I'm on antibiotics and I thought I wasn't really going to do much. But when I tell you that I got home and my head was pounding, and I don't know at this point if it's my sinus infection or the alcohol or the mixture or the Mounjaro. I don't know what it is. All I know is I wanted to die last night. And so I was in bed by like 7:30. I literally got out of bed this morning at 9:30. So it was a very long sleep. And the only reason I even got up this morning at that time was because I had to take my antibiotic, which I have to also take tonight because I fucking forgot about it. New Year's, technically speaking, I should be finishing my antibiotics on the 30th of December. And so fingers crossed, I'm going to be okay for the 31st. Some people who have been on Mounjaro told me to be careful when I drink because they said that they just black out. I'm not a drinker to begin with. I drink when I'm in Italy. But I feel like when I drink in Italy, it's very different. Maybe it's because I don't know, we like chat more. My best friend is like the quickest drinker in the entire fucking world. He literally slurps that drink in like 2 minutes. And so I hate leaving him without a drink. So I oftentimes feel like I have to keep up with his drinking level and he could fucking drink. So I don't know if that's actually true, but I feel like in Italy, it's just not the same vibe. Like I can really drink a lot more and I don't feel hungover. I also feel like I've had this conversation with several people. I'm a very big gin snob. Okay, and the reason for that being is when I started, the fact that I never drank, when I discovered gin at first, I was like, this is disgusting. Who would ever drink this? Then I realized I was just drinking cheap gin, and that's why I felt that way. When you start drinking better gin, you're like, wow, this actually doesn't taste like shit. And you can drink a lot of it and not throw up, not feel sick, have a really good buzz. And then the next morning you wake up and you're fucking ready to go again. And you don't feel sick at all. So that is why I will always opt for better gin rather than cheaper gin. Cheaper gin, you pay that shit for like 3 fucking days, okay? Who has that kind of time? Especially during the holidays, you don't have that kind of recuperation time. That's how I feel today, even though yesterday, I think it was the Caesar that took me the fuck out, but I really think it's the antibiotics. I'm hoping it's not the Mounjaro because New Year's Eve, we had come up with a whole plan and then very last minute, we got a call to go do a job, to go film. And so I couldn't say no. It's good money, so I couldn't say no. We're going to be going to Yoko Luna. We have a table at Yoko Luna later in the night. And it's just Stefano and I and one of my friends. I'm a little worried, even though they're both Stefano and my friend Jackie are very good drinkers, so I'm not that worried. I feel like there's not going to be anything left, but I feel like every single time I go out and I get a table, there's always alcohol left. And it's so annoying because literally they make you pay 9 times the price of the fucking bottle and then you even have alcohol left and you can't even take it. The beauty about Italy is when you do buy bottles, if there's leftover, you take it with you when you leave. They're not going to keep it from you. Instead here, it's like you have to fucking smuggle that bottle out if you can. Or you have to pass it into like water bottles. You have to do really sketch shit. And so I'm just hoping that that's not what's going to happen on New Year's because I don't know how much I could drink. And I also don't like the idea of blacking out. But I do like the idea that we're going to be sleeping at my friend's house on New Year's Eve-ish. And on the 1st, we have planned just rotting. I love rot days, okay? And just like watching TV, watching movies, eating, face masks. And I feel like there's really no better fucking way to start the year, even though I'm really upset because I made these plans before knowing that my mom was going to be here, because my mom, my sister, and my stepdad were supposed to be in Florida. And now they're not going. Also because it's my mom's birthday on the 1st. Isn't that fucking crazy? I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse to be born on the 1st of January, because who the fuck remembers your birthday? This was very spontaneous to decide to do this podcast today, because I was like, fuck, there's no way another year is going to pass and I'm not going to start a podcast after saying this for the last literally 3 years. I've been talking about this since I got stuck in Italy during COVID, and that was in 2020. This is embarrassing at this point. Even though the house is a mess, I look like shit. My sinus is actually killing me. I just did the squeeze bottle that like goes into your nostril and does like a whole lap around your brain and then comes out of this nostril. And I feel worse. The weird thing is at one point I was squeezing the bottle, and when I tell you the whole thing was squeezed and it wasn't coming out, and I was like, where did it just get lost? It got lost somewhere in my brain. Eventually it came out. I don't feel any better at all. All of this to say that I don't know how I'm going to proceed in doing this podcast, in the sense of I've gone through so many different ideas of what I wanted to do, people that I wanted to even bring on. There's so many people that I initially wanted to bring on that now I can't even stand to look at. So I mean, that could also be interesting. Just bear with me a bit because I don't know how we're going to go about this. I know that I don't want to do this by myself all the time. I think it would be really cool to have friends, clients, people that I work with. So like other vendors. Initially, I wanted to do something more for like weddings, which I still think I'm going to incorporate, because then I'm like, you know what? Why does it have to only be one thing? I feel like it's boring if it's always the same thing. And so I think in some periods, like maybe during wedding season, we'll do more wedding vendors. I know that I've also talking about all the things that annoy me about weddings, and don't worry, that is definitely coming. But like I said, I really wanted to just put something out before the new year and stick to something that I said I was going to do. And so this is just the first episode. Nino is leaving us. Okay. So this is just the first episode. The next episode, I don't know if I'll be alone. Maybe I'll be with somebody else. It'll always be a constant surprise. I'll always just be keeping you on your toes. I also really want to work on an intro. I have a singer that I really, really like. She's someone that I went to high school with. I also did her wedding not too long ago. She's an amazing singer, and I think it would be so sick for her to make me my own personalized intro song. And so I've already reached out to her. We still kind of have to talk about it and figure out how we're going to do it. And I need to make sure that she actually wants to do it. But for now, whatever you hear in the beginning is not what it's going to be. And like I said, if I kept waiting for this to be perfect, I would have died first. And so I just wanted to get it done. And I think there's a lesson there for everybody. Instead of waiting for things to always be perfect, just start them. Because when I started Lonely Girl, it definitely wasn't perfect. If I even go back to some of the first things that I posted, they're so cringy, but it's a huge reason of why I got to where I am, is because I always just posted and I didn't care what anybody thought. And so I'm hoping that I could do the same thing with this podcast. And so if you've watched up to here, thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm not even sure where I'm going to be putting this. I feel like right after I finish this episode, I'm going to go on Spotify, make an account, and try to put this on Spotify. So if that's where you're watching it from, sick. Wherever you're watching it from, thank you for watching. And I really hope that you watch the second episode. This is going to be the last episode of the year, also the first. And I will see you in the new year. Say hello. Go meow. Go meowling. Louder, go. Meow, go. Sta respirando così forte. You breathe like a fat man. I forgot to say, follow us. What? Follow us. Follow me. No, because you're walking into the light. Wait, walk into the light. Come dire che stai morendo. Nel senso che hai visto il paradiso e lo stai seguendo la luce. So for now, follow me on Lonely Girl Productions on Instagram. That is where I'm going to put any information until I figure out what I'm doing with my life. Thank you so much for watching. E mo proprio, ma che rompipalle!
Che hai detto? Panino? No, non era convincente. Meow. No.
This fucking cat. Bye. You can stop it now.
Mirror, mirror, tell me, what is it about them? Living like it's their game. Karma said it better than me, you'll just end up losing.